The night he left US in the snow. Some betrayals don't just break your heart, they freeze it. Before you continue, make sure you've subscribed. You won't want to miss what comes next. My name is Elena, and if anyone had told me at 16 that my life would change during the coldest night of the year, I would have laughed. My world back then was small: school, my mom, and the crumbling marriage she was desperately trying to keep alive. But on that one night, when the snow fell so heavy it covered the streets like a burial shroud, my father decided that the two people who loved him the most weren't worth a seat in his warm car. He chose her instead. His mistress. The woman he thought would make him younger, richer, freer, whatever fantasy he fed himself. And that's where this story begins. The night he left us in the snow to chase a woman who wasn't even worth the frostbite we nearly suffered. Before I tell you what happened, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. These stories get deeper and darker. The night of the dinner party. It was supposed to be a simple Christmas dinner at my grandmother's. My mother had cooked, she always cooked, because she believed keeping busy kept the peace. She wore her favorite burgundy dress that night, the one she saved for family occasions. I could tell she was nervous. She wanted this dinner to show my father that we were still a family worth fighting for. My father, on the other hand, was glued to his phone. Every 5 minutes his screen lit up. Every 5 minutes his jaw tightened. Every 5 minutes he sent a glance toward the door, like he was waiting for someone else entirely. I knew. Deep down, I had known for months. Mom had suspicions, too, but she tried to deny them. She hoped she was wrong. She hoped love was stronger than lust. She hoped the storm outside wasn't a reflection of the one brewing inside our house. We never made it to Grandma's. The text message that changed everything. Halfway down the highway, snow piling thick on the windshield, his phone vibrated again. My father didn't even pretend to hide it this time. He grabbed it, glanced down, and smirked. Mom asked softly, "Who keeps texting you?" His reply was ice cold. "Someone who actually appreciates me." Silence. The kind of silence that suffocates. I watched Mom's face crumble. I watched her swallow her pain. I watched her refuse to cry, because crying meant admitting defeat. Then another message came through. This time, he read it aloud. "I need you. Tonight." And that was when he made the decision that shattered our family. He pulled over. Right there. On the side of the road. In the middle of a blizzard. Snow swirling like it wanted to swallow the world. He told us to get out. At first, I thought he was joking. People didn't just abandon their family during a storm. No one did that. But he opened the driver's door, walked around, yanked open Mom's door and said, "Get out." Mom stared at him, horrified. "Michael, what are you doing? It's freezing." He didn't even blink. "Get out. I'm done with this marriage. I'm done pretending. She needs me. I'm going to her." I felt the blood drain from my body. "Dad, are you serious? There's a snowstorm." He turned to me with the coldest eyes I'd ever seen. "You're old enough to walk. Your mother can call someone. I don't care. I'm leaving." He didn't just abandon us. He humiliated us. He made sure we knew we were disposable. Mom refused to get out at first. She pleaded, begged, grabbed his jacket sleeve. And he shoved her. Hard. She landed on the snow, helpless, breathless, stunned. I jumped out after her, screaming, reaching to help her stand. But he was already back in the car. Already choosing her. Already heartless. The taillights disappear. I will never forget the image. My mother sobbing, unable to stand because her heels snapped in the snow. Her shaking hands reaching toward the car as it pulled away. Her breath forming desperate clouds in the frozen air. Me holding her, watching the taillights disappear into the storm like the last warmth leaving our lives. He didn't look back. Not once. People always say, time heals. But some scars burn forever. And that moment? It carved itself into me. The long walk. Snow seeped into my boots, numbing my toes. Mom was shivering violently. The wind sliced through our coats like knives. I called Grandma. No answer. She was old, she slept early. I called neighbors, no one picked up. Finally, with no other option, I held my mother tight and started walking toward the nearest gas station. It was a mile away, maybe more. Every step felt heavier than the last. Mom kept whispering. Why would he do this? What did I do wrong? I didn't know what to say. Because none of it made sense. We walked. And walked. And walked. Until finally, we saw it, a glowing gas station sign cutting through the darkness like a lighthouse for the broken. The kind stranger. The man behind the counter stared at us, two figures covered in snow, shaking uncontrollably. Dear God, what happened to you? Mom tried to speak, but her lips were blue. I explained everything in one breath, ashamed but desperate. He didn't hesitate. He brought us blankets. Hot chocolate. A space heater. He offered to drive us home, too. That stranger did more for us in 15 minutes than my father had done in years. The aftermath. Grandma arrived at our house the next morning, furious when she heard what happened. She wanted to call the police. She wanted to call a lawyer. She wanted to burn his mistress's house to the ground. But Mom just sat on the couch, staring at the wall, like she had died inside. That's when I made a silent promise. One day, I will make him regret this. Not with violence. Not with screaming. Not even with hatred. I would make him regret it by living a life so full, so strong, so unshakable, that he would crumble knowing he threw us away. At 16, I didn't know how that revenge would unfold. But life has a funny way of bringing people face to face with karma. And years later, the same man who left us in the snow would end up on his knees, begging, crying, destroyed by the consequences of his own betrayal. But that's part 6. The years we rebuilt while he destroyed himself. Some men leave because they think the grass is greener, then spend the rest of their lives choking on the weeds. Before we dive in, if you haven't subscribed yet, do it now so you don't miss the next twists. The first winter without him. The winter he abandoned us wasn't just a season, it was a wound. Mom barely spoke for weeks. She moved through the house like a ghost drifting from room to room, touching objects that once had meaning, staring at memories as if they were strangers. She kept replaying that night in whispers. I just don't understand. I loved him. I was always loyal. Why wasn't that enough? But the world doesn't stop turning just because your heart is shattered. We still had bills. We still had school. We still had a life that refused to pause. So I took over everything I could. I cooked. I shoveled snow. I handled phone calls. I managed the mail before Mom could open anything painful. It's strange how trauma forces you to grow up overnight. But in a way, that winter made me stronger. And slowly, Mom returned to herself. The mistress revealed. I never liked snooping. But one evening, 3 months after he left us in the snow, Mom was asleep and I heard her phone buzz. It was a text. From an unknown number. I checked. And my jaw dropped. It was his mistress. A long paragraph dripping with guilt trying to sound like sympathy. I'm so sorry for what happened. I never wanted him to treat you that way. He just gets angry when he's stressed. He loves me but he didn't mean to hurt you both. I actually laughed. A quiet, bitter laugh. So she was the kind of woman who steals someone else's husband. And tries to sound like a saint. I didn't reply. But I saved the number. You never know when information becomes useful later. And trust me. Later, it became very useful. Before you continue, make sure you've subscribed. The Revengeg is building layer by layer. Mom's first job after the divorce. My father froze Mom's accounts after leaving. He stopped paying the mortgage. He stopped buying groceries. He refused to take calls. He became a ghost, except ghosts have more guilt. So Mom had to work. She used to be a talented seamstress before marriage swallowed her dreams. After months of emotional paralysis, she finally decided. I can't let this destroy me. She found a job repairing clothes at a small boutique. Low pay, long hours, but the owner adored her. For the first time in years, she felt seen. And I got a part-time job at a cafe to help with rent and school supplies. We were tired. We were healing. We were rebuilding. Brick by brick. Day by day. And what about him? While Mom and I rebuilt ourselves, my father was tearing his own life apart. How do I know? Because small towns talk. And when a man cheats publicly, the gossip spreads like wildfire. I heard it first from a customer at the cafe. You know Michael? The insurance guy? I heard he sold his house. Heard it was because his new woman can't handle kids. Then my coworker said, I heard they fight constantly. His car was keyed last week at the mall. Grandma added. That mistress of his? She didn't want him, she wanted his money. Now she's squeezing him like a lemon. My father thought he upgraded. He thought he walked into a better life. Instead, he walked into a trap with gold-painted walls. And karma? Karma watched him fall in slow motion. The humiliating store incident. One afternoon, I was restocking pastries when the bell above the cafe door jingled. I looked up. And there he was. My father. The man who left us in the snow. He didn't notice me at first. He stood near the register holding a bouquet of cheap flowers, looking exhausted, beaten down, almost aged. Like betrayal had sucked the youth out of him. Then I saw her, the mistress, storming in behind him. She was yelling. Loud. Unapologetically dramatic. Why can't you just give me your card? Why do you always make things difficult? My manager froze. Customers stared. My father's face turned red. He shoved the flowers on the counter and hissed. I told you, my account is restricted until payday. Can you stop causing scenes everywhere we go? She scoffed. I refuse to wait. I am not living paycheck to paycheck. I stepped closer, pretending to clean a table. Watching. Observing. Feasting. It was the first time I saw him powerless. His mistress grabbed the flowers, sniffed them, and sneered. You call these flowers? You got me cheap ones? What am I supposed to do with this garbage? Then she threw them. At him. Right there. In front of everyone. And they fell at his feet. Just like we once did. He picked them up wordlessly. His eyes lifted. And met mine. Shock. Shame. Recognition. All crashed across his face. Elena. I turned away without a word. And that small rejection? It shattered him. He tried to follow me. He waited outside until my shift ended. I saw him pacing near the parking lot, running his hands through his thinning hair. Elena, please. I just want to talk. I walked past him. He stepped in front of me. Please, he whispered. I'm struggling. And for a second, just a second, I saw the truth. He wanted me to fix him. To comfort him. To be the emotional support child he abandoned. But I didn't owe him softness. I didn't owe him closure. I didn't owe him anything. You left us in the snow, I said quietly. He opened his mouth. Closed it. Swallowed hard. That was a mistake. A mistake? I snapped. You didn't drop a glass. You abandoned us during a blizzard. He started crying. Actual tears. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. But apologies don't thaw frozen wounds. I walked away. He didn't follow this time. The shift in power. That day marked the turning point. My father had always been the dominant one, the provider, the voice, the authority. But after the cafe incident, he became a shadow. His mistress controlled him. His finances were suffocating him. His reputation was crumbling. His pride was gone. Meanwhile, Mom and I, we were rising. Stronger. Closer. Wiser. Mom started making custom wedding dresses. Her small boutique corner became popular. People loved her craftsmanship. And for the first time, she smiled for real again. The letter he mailed US. One spring morning, an envelope arrived. No return address. Mom opened it with shaky hands. It was from him. A long, rambling apology. Filled with excuses. Filled with regret. But the ending stood out. I hope one day you both can forgive me. I hope one day, I can come home. Mom's tears hit the paper. Not because she wanted him back. But because she had finally realized. She would never, ever let him return. And neither would I. The rise of the women he left behind. When Moem realized she didn't need him. The day my father's apology letter arrived, something changed in my mother. She held the paper in trembling fingers, but she didn't cry like she used to. She didn't break down. She didn't crumble into sadness. Instead, she said softly, "We survived without him, didn't we?" It wasn't a question. It was a revelation. That afternoon she pulled out her sewing machine, the one she kept hidden for years because my father complained about the noise, and placed it right in the living room. "I'm done shrinking," she declared. And from that moment onward, my mother rose. Slowly at first, then boldly, beautifully, fiercely. The birth of Mom's business. Her first customer was a bride-to-be named Amber who wanted her grandmother's dress altered into something modern. Mom worked for 5 nights straight. Pins in her mouth. Fabric draped across the living room. Coffee cups everywhere. When Amber tried on the final result, she burst into tears. "This is perfect," she whispered. "I've never felt so beautiful." Word spread shockingly fast. Soon we had brides, mothers of brides, prom girls, pageant contestants, boutique owners. Everyone wanted the seamstress who could turn old dreams into new magic. We turned our small dining space into a work studio. We turned our Saturdays into fittings. We turned our pain into purpose. And every time someone paid, Mom would smile and say, "See, Elena? We are doing this. We're doing life without him." Before you continue, don't forget to subscribe to stay with this story. My own transformation. I wasn't the same girl who stood in the snow begging for her father not to drive away. I worked double shifts. I saved every dollar. I studied harder than ever before. I pushed myself because I'd learned one powerful truth. No one is coming to save us. We save ourselves. I became top of my class. Tutored other students. Joined 2 clubs. Won a writing competition. Earned enough scholarship money to pay for my first year of college. Every win felt like reclaiming something he stole. Every accomplishment was a middle finger to the man who said we weren't worth staying for. The first time he tried to return. Months passed, then a year. My father disappeared into the mess he created with his mistress. Then one evening, while Mom was pinning fabric on a mannequin, there was a knock on our door. I opened it. And my heart dropped. There he was. standing on our porch. Older. Thinner. Exhausted. He had dark circles under his eyes and his clothes didn't match, like he got dressed in a rush. "Elena, please." I didn't move. He stepped closer, voice cracking. I just want to see your mother." I blocked the doorway. "Why?" I asked coldly. His eyes filled with tears instantly. "I made a mistake. The biggest mistake of my life." I didn't respond. Behind me, I heard Mom's footsteps. She appeared at my side, calm, composed, wearing her sewing apron with pins clipped to the front. "What do you want, Michael?" His voice broke. "Please, let me come in." Mom shook her head. "No. You don't live here anymore." He grabbed the doorframe as if trying to steady himself. "She left me," he whispered. "That woman, she used me. She drained everything. Emotionally. Financially. I lost my job. I'm drowning." Mom inhaled deeply. "I'm sorry for what you're going through," she said softly. "But your pain doesn't erase what you did to us." He looked at me, desperate. "Elena, sweetheart." I stepped back. "Don't call me that." His face fell. Tears overflowed. "I'm begging you. Please. I just need a second chance." Mom shook her head again. "You didn't give us a second chance that night." And with that, she gently closed the door. The click of the lock echoed like justice. The message his mistress sent me. 2 days later, my phone buzzed. A text from the mistress. The same woman who contributed to destroying our family. Her message was short. "He's your father. He needs help. Stop being cruel." Cruel? She thought we were cruel? I didn't reply. I didn't waste my breath. But something inside me shifted that day. I realized. They were both drowning. And they wanted us as their life raft. But we weren't going to save them. We were too busy saving ourselves. The rumors about his mistress. Small towns talk. And whispers find their way home. People at the cafe told me. She cheated on him. The mistress. With her coworker. He spent all his savings on her. And she still walked out. They say she left him the same way he left you, cold, sudden, heartless. I didn't celebrate. I didn't smirk. But there was something poetic. About a betrayer being betrayed. Some call it karma. Some call it justice. I call it balance. The night Moem stood tall. One evening, Mom was invited to a charity gala as a guest designer. She made her own dress, a stunning emerald gown that made her look like royalty. As we entered the hall, heads turned. People whispered. "That's her, the one who was abandoned. Look at her now." But the real moment came when we walked near the back of the room. There he was. My father. He was wearing an old suit, slightly worn, slightly wrinkled. He looked out of place among the polished businessmen. He froze when he saw her. "Anna," he breathed, taking a shaky step forward. Mom didn't flinch. "Don't," she said firmly. "Not here." He swallowed, voice breaking. "You look beautiful. You always were." I was blind. She nodded politely. "That's true." He opened his mouth to speak again, but his voice failed him. He covered his face with one hand and quietly cried. Right there, in the middle of a ballroom. And my mother? She walked past him. Elegant. Poised. Untouchable. That was the moment I knew. Revenge didn't need violence. Or screaming. Or plotting. Sometimes revenge is simply becoming someone they can no longer reach. The call for help. Weeks later, he called. We didn't answer. He messaged. We didn't reply. He tried stopping by. We didn't open the door. He was spiraling. His mistress had drained his money and left him. His job was gone. His house was in foreclosure. His friends avoided him. His family cut ties. And eventually, he realized the truth. He lost the only people who ever loved him. Before you continue, don't forget to subscribe. The fall is just beginning. The regret is coming. When karma came collecting. The start of his downfall. After the gala humiliation, my father tried everything to claw his way back into our lives. But the damage was done. You can only shatter someone so many times before the pieces no longer fit together. He called Mom's phone repeatedly. He sent long, desperate emails. He even wrote letters, pages overflowing with guilt and self-pity. I miss the family we had. I made a mistake leaving. I need you both. I can't do this alone. Please, Anna, just talk to me. Elena. I'm still your father. But none of these messages contained the one thing we needed to hear. Accountability. He was sorry he got caught in a miserable situation. Sorry his mistress abandoned him. Sorry karma had teeth. But he wasn't sorry for what he did that night in the snow. And until he faced that truth, there was no coming back. The mistress gets exposed. One morning at the cafe, my coworker Brianna nearly choked on her muffin. Oh my God, Elena, look. She held her phone out, Instagram open. It was a picture of my father's mistress, kissing a different man. Handsy. Bold. No shame. The caption read, "New beginnings." The comments were brutal. She left the old guy. She drained him completely. I knew she wouldn't stick around. She moves fast. Isn't this her fourth boyfriend this year? People were gossiping loudly enough that customers turned to listen. I stood there, wiping the counter, feeling nothing. No satisfaction. No joy. No victory. Just a calm understanding. She was exactly who we thought she was. And he willingly chose her over us. Before you continue, don't forget to subscribe for the next part of this story. When he lost everything, the dominoes fell one after another. Keycap won his job. His company downsized, and he was dismissed. His performance had dropped. His attitude had changed. He was distracted. He was unreliable. He tried fighting it. But the HR manager, who knew the story from local gossip, simply said, "You should focus on getting your life together first." Keycap to his house. He couldn't keep up with payments. The house that once echoed with our laughter, the house Mom and I were thrown out of emotionally long before he left us physically, was foreclosed. Neighbors said he moved into a rundown apartment. Keycap 3 his health. Stress aged him a decade. People saw him around town looking thin, hair messy, beard untrimmed, shoulders hunched like the weight of his choices physically bent him. Keycap 4 his social circle. Friends drifted away. No one wanted to hang out with the man who abandoned his family and got dumped by the woman he ruined his life for. Everything he built collapsed. Everything he valued vanished. And meanwhile, Mom's business was booming. I was preparing for college. Our lives were improving without him. The contrast couldn't be sharper. The night he showed up at my workplace. It was late. The cafe was closing. Rain poured outside, tapping at the windows like impatient fingers. Brianna was stacking chairs when she whispered, "Elena, don't freak out." I turned. My father was standing near the entrance. Soaked. Shivering. Holding a small paper bag like it contained his last bit of dignity. His eyes were swollen from crying. "Elena," he whispered, voice breaking. "Please, just hear me out." I felt my stomach twist, not with fear, but with the memory of his taillights disappearing into a snowstorm. I folded my arms. What do you want? He stepped closer, dripping water onto the floor. I brought you dinner, he said, lifting the bag. From the diner you like. I wanted to do something for you. Something shifted in me that moment. Not forgiveness. Not sympathy. Just clarity. You see, parents teach us how to love. But they also teach us how to walk away. And he had taught me both. I don't need dinner from you, I said quietly. I needed a father the night you drove away. He closed his eyes, pain stretching across his face. I know. I wish I could take it back. I swear I do. Brianna walked over, ready to intervene. But I shook my head. I wanted him to hear this. You didn't make one mistake, I continued. You made a decision. You chose her. You chose betrayal. And now that she's gone, you want to come back. His voice cracked. I'm not asking for everything. I just want a chance. A relationship. Anything. I stared at him, but all I saw was the man who left us freezing on the side of the road. No, I said firmly. You lost that right. He sobbed. Right there in the cafe, my father sobbed like a child. But tears don't erase trauma. And sorrow doesn't rebuild trust. I walked past him and locked the door behind me. His begging echoed all the way to my car. The letter he left next morning. He slipped it under our door. 2 pages long. Desperate. Broken. Full of regret. But one line stood out. If you don't help me, I don't know how I'll survive. It wasn't an apology. It wasn't accountability. It was manipulation. Mom read it, exhaled slowly, and whispered. No more. We are done letting him pull us down. For the first time ever. She was stronger than him. Mom's final act of closure. One Saturday, Mom asked me to drive her somewhere. We pulled up outside the shabby apartment complex where he now lived. Why are we here? I asked. She smoothed her dress, inhaled deeply, and said, I'm giving him closure. But not the kind he wants. She knocked on his door. He opened it within seconds, like he'd been waiting behind it. Anna. She held up a hand. I'm here to say one thing, she said calmly. I forgive you. His face lit up with hope. But, she continued, forgiving you doesn't mean welcoming you back. The hope evaporated instantly. For years, she said, voice steady and strong, I lived small. I walked on eggshells. I kept your secrets. I tolerated your moods. I let myself shrink so you could feel big. Her chin lifted. No more. I'm done living in your shadow. He stepped forward, pleading. I can change, Anna, please, just let me. She stepped back. You had your chance. You threw it away. This is the last time we speak. He broke. He crumpled like a man whose world finally collapsed. Mom turned around, walked back to the car, and said, Let's go. That was the moment she became free. The beginning of his regret. From then on, he spiraled deeper. He tried calling us every day. He stopped taking care of himself. He told neighbors he'd lost everything that mattered. He told relatives he would give anything, to undo that night. But all his regret came too late. Because the women he left behind had already risen without him. Before we move to the next chapter, don't forget to subscribe. The regret turns into desperation in part 5, and the final downfall is coming. The point of no return. The day everything collapsed for him. 2 months after Mom's final closure visit, my father's life finally reached the breaking point. It happened on a Tuesday. A neighbor, Mrs. Green, the unofficial town radio, came to the boutique, breathless, eyes wide. Your ex-husband. She swallowed. He was fired from the temp job as well. They escorted him out. Mom didn't react. Not a flinch. Not a twitch. Instead, she placed a jeweled sash on a mannequin and said, I hope he finds peace. That was my mother now. Stronger. Centered. Unshakable. But I knew this was the moment everything would spiral for him. And it did. The voicemail that changed everything. That night, he left a voicemail. Not the manipulative kind. Not the guilt-tripping kind. Not the feel sorry for me kind. A broken one. A hollow one. Anna. Elena, please. I don't know what to do anymore. I know I don't deserve your help, but I'm not okay. I'm alone. I'm scared. I'm so sorry for everything I did. I wish I could take it all back. I'd give anything to undo that night. He sniffed. Coughed. Breathed shakily. I keep dreaming of you both. I see that night over and over. I see you crying on the road. I see the snow. I see the way you looked at me. I was out of my mind. I ruined everything. Please. I need to see you. Please. Then. A sound that wasn't crying. A choked sob. A man suffocating under the weight of his own choices. When the voicemail ended, the room felt heavy. Mom played it twice. Then deleted it. Finally, she whispered. He's living his consequences. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe so you stay with this story until the final downfall. The day he showed up at my campus. I was in a study room prepping for finals when the receptionist knocked on the door. There's someone here asking for you, a man. My stomach dropped. I walked to the lobby and froze in place. It was him. My father. He looked destroyed. He was wearing clothes that didn't fit, hair uncombed, shoes worn out. His hands trembled as he reached for me. Elena, thank God. He stepped closer, but I stepped back. Dad. What are you doing here? His voice cracked. I needed to see you. I needed to apologize in person. You deserve that much. I've been going to therapy. I'm trying to get better. I'm trying to be something. Anything. For you. I didn't answer. My heart wasn't cold. But it wasn't open either. He continued, tears filling his eyes. You know, every night I dream of that moment in the snow. Every night. I dream of your mother crying. Of you screaming my name. I hear it. Over and over. It doesn't stop. He pressed a shaking hand to his chest. It kills me. It really does. For a moment. A tiny moment. I almost felt sympathy. Then he whispered. I want to come home. My chest tightened. You don't have a home with us, I said quietly. His shoulders crumpled. He dropped to his knees. Literally. Right there in the middle of the university lobby. Students stared. Staff stared. Phones came out. Whispers spread like wildfire. Elena, please, please don't walk away from me again. And all I could think was, you walked away first. And you left us to freeze. I knelt too. But only so he could hear me clearly. You can be sorry. You can heal. You can rebuild. But not with us. Not ever again. He stopped breathing for a moment. Stunned. Devastated. But I'm your father, he whispered. I stood. You were my father. Past tense. And I walked away. His cry echoed in the lobby until security escorted him out. The mistress tries to return. As if fate wanted to twist the knife deeper, his mistress came slithering back into the picture. She messaged me on Instagram. I didn't mean for things to go the way they did. I made mistakes too. Maybe we should talk. Talk? With the woman who encouraged him to abandon us? Who texted him, "I need you tonight," during a blizzard? Who later blamed us for being cruel when he hit rock bottom? I didn't even entertain it. But Mom? Mom smiled when I told her. Oh, she's only back because she ran out of money and she knows where she can drain more. Then Mom asked for her number. Not to fight. Not to argue. Just to say, don't contact my daughter again. Your involvement in our lives ended the moment he walked away for you. It was elegant. Classy. Powerful. The mistress never reached out again. The car accident. 2 weeks later, he got into a minor car accident. Nothing serious, just a fender bender. But it shook him. The paramedic later told a family friend. He kept saying, "I could have died and my family wouldn't even know." He was panicking more than the situation required. Because in that moment, he realized something terrifying. He didn't have us anymore. Not as family. Not as support. Not even as emergency contacts. His loneliness wasn't theoretical anymore. It was real. Cold. Immediate. Just like the snowstorm he left us in. The day MOM sent him a final message. Mom is kind, but she is also wise. She knows when a door must close completely. So she wrote a letter, not emotional, not cruel, just clear. It said, "I forgive you because I won't carry anger anymore." But forgiveness is not reconciliation. Forgiveness does not rebuild trust. Forgiveness does not erase consequences. We have healed. We have moved on. You must do the same. Do not contact us again. We wish you peace, nothing more. She mailed it. And for the first time since the snowstorm, I saw her look truly free. The outcome for US. Mom expanded her business. She hired assistants. Her dresses appeared in bridal magazines. I graduated college. Got a job in marketing. Moved into my own place. Started building a future for myself with the confidence we earned, not inherited. We were thriving. We are thriving. But him? He reached his final stage of regret. Before we head into the final chapter, don't forget to subscribe. Part 6 is where everything comes full circle. The years that followed. Time moved forward even if he didn't. Mom's boutique gained momentum. Her designs went viral after a famous bride posted about her dress. People traveled from other states just to get fitted by Anna, the woman who turns pain into art. As for me, I climbed quickly in my career. Got promoted. Got recognized. Started mentoring younger employees. We had built a world so full of warmth that the memory of that snowstorm no longer stung. It only reminded us of what we had survived. But for him, life became a slow-motion collapse. Every choice he made that night followed him like a shadow he couldn't shake off. The event that changed everything. It happened on an early autumn morning. I had just moved into a new apartment, bright, modern, quiet. Mom was helping me unpack when my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I ignored it. Then it buzzed again. Mom checked the screen and whispered, "It's one of your uncle's numbers." I answered, "Elena, it's your Uncle Paul. You need to come to the hospital." My heart stopped. Why? What happened? "It's your father." My grip tightened. What about him? He collapsed. Mom closed her eyes, bracing herself. "He asked for you." My stomach twisted. Not because I wanted to go. Not because I worried for him. But because this was the moment life had been building toward. The confrontation I never wanted, but always expected. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe. The final moment is approaching. The hospital room. The hospital hallway smelled of antiseptic and fear. Mom held my hand as we walked toward his room. She wasn't trembling. She was steady, resolved. When we stepped inside, I barely recognized him. He looked small, fragile, deflated. A version of himself life had chewed up and spit out. His eyes fluttered open. And when he saw us, really saw us, he broke. His face crumpled like a collapsing building. Anna. Elena. His voice cracked into a sob. Mom stepped closer, expression unreadable. What happened? She asked the nurse. He had a stress-induced episode, the nurse said. Not a heart attack, but close. He asked specifically for you both. He looked up at us like a man seeing light after living in the dark. I didn't think you'd come, he whispered. I didn't answer. Mom didn't either. He reached a trembling hand out, but neither of us stepped forward. Please, he begged. Please don't leave. I need to tell you something. I need you to hear me. For the first time, I saw a raw terror in his eyes. Not fear of death, but fear of dying alone. The confession. He took a shaky breath. I know I don't deserve anything from either of you. Not forgiveness. Not comfort. Not even a visit. He looked at me. You were a child. And I failed you. Then he looked at Mom. And you gave me everything. Years of loyalty. Years of love. And I threw it away. Tears rolled down his cheeks. I left you in that snowstorm because I was a coward. I was running from myself. Not from you. Mom's jaw clenched. He continued. That woman, she told me everything I wanted to hear. She flattered my ego, made me feel young again, made me feel important. He swallowed hard. But she never loved me. She loved what I could give her. And when I was empty, she left. Mom didn't speak. She didn't soften. He reached for my hand again. I didn't move. I lost everything, and I deserved it, he whispered. Every single consequence. Every tear. Every lonely night. Everything that fell apart. His voice broke. But the one thing I cannot live with. He started sobbing. Is the memory of that night. Of you and your mother in the snow. Of driving away. Of looking in the mirror and seeing you crying behind me. He covered his face with both hands. I live that moment every night. Every night. Mom and I stood in silence. Not cruel silence, not vengeful silence. But the silence of people who finally understood. Regret was his punishment. And he carried it like chains. The moment he kneeled. He tried getting out of the hospital bed. Don't, Mom said sharply. But he ignored her. With effort, shaking, struggling, he swung his legs off the edge of the bed. Elena, please, help him, Mom whispered. But I didn't move. He stood, wobbling, gripping the bed frame. Then sank slowly, painfully. Onto his knees. Right there. In his hospital gown. On the cold tile floor. A grown man. A father. Broken by his own actions. He clutched my hands, pulling them to his forehead like a prayer. I am begging you, he whispered through sobs. Please. I need forgiveness. I cannot carry this anymore. I froze. Mom gasped softly, covering her mouth. Nurses stared through the window. He stayed there. Kneeling in regret. Shaking. Crying. Pleading. Until the nurse rushed in and helped him back to bed. He grabbed my wrist before they lifted him. "Elena, please don't hate me anymore." I gently removed his hand. Then I said the words he needed to hear. But not the ones he expected. "I don't hate you." His breath caught. "But I don't belong to your life anymore." His face crumpled again. "You will heal," I said softly. "But without us." He wept. Mom stepped forward, placed a hand on his arm, and said, "I forgave you long ago. But forgiveness isn't return. Forgiveness is freedom. For me, and for her." He looked between us. Two women he once broke. Two women he could no longer reach. Two women who had rebuilt without him. And that was when it truly hit him. Not the collapse. Not the fallout. Not the loneliness. But the final, irreversible truth. He lost us forever. We left the hospital room quietly. As we walked down the hall, I felt lighter. Not because he apologized. Not because he knelt. Not because he regretted everything. But because I finally understood. We didn't need him to be sorry. For us to move on. We already had. And that was the greatest revenge life could ever give. My father eventually found work. He moved to another town. He stays in therapy. He writes letters sometimes. Letters we read, but never answer. As for us, Mom's boutique became a full studio. She trains young designers now. I built a life full of love, warmth, and integrity. A life that honors the girl in the snow. A life he will never be part of again. His regret was real. But our healing was stronger. And that night he knelt in front of me. That was the moment the universe finalized the lesson. Never chase the one who left you in the cold. Build a fire so bright that they kneel just to feel its warmth. Knowing they can never come close again.